Welcome to today's webinar on the magical island of Tenerife, also known as the Island of Eternal Spring. My name is Cyril Lemaire. I am with Quest Travel Adventures, and we are the official office of representation for Turismo de Tenerife, the official tourism board of Tenerife and the Canary Islands. Now, before we get started, a few housekeeping issues. We've got everybody on mute, and we ask that you keep any questions that you have until the end of the presentation, at which point we'll have a Q&A session. Now, today we're going to talk a little bit about the island of Tenerife and a couple of the different five-star properties on the island, the Ritz-Carlton Abama Resort, as well as the Sheraton La Caleta Resort, both of which are located on the southern end of the island. But before we get into that, we are going to talk a little bit about where the island is located, what there is to do on the island, the various accommodations, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the packages before we get into the question and answer period. Now, let's start a little bit by asking ourselves what you or your clients would want to do on their dream vacation. Now, for some of you, it might be laying around the beach, or it might be touring around some cultural festivities and cultural centers, or it might be going around to various wineries, or maybe an amusement park with your kids or grandkids. Regardless of what it might be, I can almost guarantee you that you can do it here on this magical island of Tenerife. And what you're looking at here is the Valley of La Orotava. Now, you're looking at the northern end of the island here, overlooking the Mount Teide National Park. Now, Mount Teide and the island of Tenerife is located southwest of Spain in the Atlantic Islands. It is part of Spain. It is part of the European community and the EU. And it is located approximately 80 miles off of the coast of Morocco. Now, Tenerife is the largest of the 7 Canary Islands, and it's a short 2.5-hour flight from Madrid, a 4-hour flight from London, or a 6-hour flight from the direct flights that we are hoping to get from New York City starting in January of 2018. Now, the reason Tenerife is such a wonderful location is testament to the fact that it is the most popular and the most visited of the 7 Canary Islands. It gets 6 million travelers per year, mainly Brits, people from Scotland, Great Britain, France, and Spain. And the reason that is because it's connected to more than 180 cities in Europe. So it's a very easy destination to get to from pretty much anywhere that you or your clients are in mainland Western Europe. Now, I like to call the Tenerife as the Hawaii of the Atlantic. Now, why is that? It's got a lot of volcanic cliffs, but I like to think about it as a combination of the Big Island in Maui, combined with the food, wine, colonial Spanish architecture of Barcelona in Spain, with the natural landscapes, natural parks, and beautiful beaches of St. John Virgin Islands. Now, it has a very modern infrastructure. As you can see here, these are the cable cars in the capital city of Santa Cruz in the north end of the island. And as part of the Euro, it has all of the comforts of Europe, including modern highways that allow you to drive on the right side of the road, well-lit motorways, fantastic clear signage, And in the event that you need it, hopefully not, but there are some fantastic and great medical facilities on the island that are at your disposal, including a teaching hospital associated with the University of La Laguna. Now, the island is home to some of the world's best hotel chains. We're going to talk about the Ritz-Carlton Abama and the Sheraton La Coletta in a bit, but it also is home to famous hotel chains such as the Hotel Bahia del Duque, the H10 resorts, the Da Vinci resorts, and most recently, the 5-star Hard Rock Tenerife. Now, on the island, there are more 4-star and 5-star resorts than in Madrid and Barcelona combined. So what you're looking at here is a view of the Sheraton La Coletta overlooking the island of La Gomera, facing due west with fantastic, memorable sunsets every day that you can see. On the northern end of the island are other hotels that are also 5-star hotels, and this one is the Hotel Botanico, which is located in a town called Puerto de la Cruz, well known as one of the top spas in Europe, and also well known for its spa facilities and also its botanical gardens that you can see here, both on the property as well in the town of Puerto de la Cruz. Now, for those of you who like spas, there are many thermal pools in the resorts, and most of the resorts have licensed massage therapists that will give you some great treatments. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's the top things to do on the island. And one of the things with Tenerife is that there are more than 10 highlights and things to do on the island. And we're going to touch on these today. The first one is the beaches. Now, that's as all islands would have it. This island is a little bit unique. A, because it is called the Island of Eternal Spring. And the reason it's called the Island of Eternal Spring is because it is 75 to 80 degrees year-round. If you go there in January or on April vacation or during the summer as an extension to maybe a river cruise down the Danube, or maybe just a little getaway in the fall or winter to get away from the cold, you can find great beaches, both black sand beaches and white sand beaches on the island. The northern part of the island is known for its rugged coastline and black sand beaches. And the southern end of the island that you're looking at here is well known for its high-end resorts and its gold sand beaches that were brought in, many from the Sahara. Now, this is my favorite. Now, the crown jewel of the island is Mount Teide National Park. It is one of 2 UNESCO World Heritage sites on the island, and a experience that is highly memorable. What you're looking at here is at the summit of Mount Teide, you're looking at the event called the Sea of Clouds, which is a phenomenon that you can see every evening where the sun sets, creates a shadow over the Sea of Clouds and over the ocean facing the other Canarian Islands. And it's truly a spectacular experience here where you can actually see the phenomenon called the green flash, which is the moment where the sun sets, it emits a green flash that you can see for a split second. And there's only a few places on Earth that you can see it. Now, Mount Teide is an absolute beauty. The first time I went there, I fell in love with it, not only because of its landscape and because of the sunset views that you have here, but because of all the various terrain and fauna and flora that you can see as you go up in altitude. Mount Teide is the 3rd tallest volcano in the world. It is the tallest mountain in Spain. And as you ascend up into the caldera and the top of the mountain, you will go through 4 different microclimates. And in each microclimate, there are different types of unique vegetation, to the point where there are more than 800 unique species of fauna and flora on the island and in the national park. Now, the terrain is very lunar-like in the top of the park and in the caldera, as you can see here. And you have these unique flowers, like the ones you see here, that are about 6 to 8 feet high and are in both red and white colors. Now, these are most of the year. You can see them throughout the caldera. And another interesting piece of information about Mount Teide National Park is that it is also home to the NASA and the European Space Agency's Solar Observatory. In fact, NASA tested the recent Mars rover on the caldera and on the landscape of Mount Teide to ensure that it would endure the rugged landscapes and rocky landscapes of Mars. Now, one of our favorite activities is stargazing, and that's because this is considered to be the #2 spot on the Earth to view stars and galaxies behind South America and Peru. Now, one of our favorite activities is an event and an excursion called Sunset with the Stars, where you can get picked up at your hotel with private transfers, brought up Mount Teide, where you can see all the different fauna and flora, go up the cable car that brings you to the summit, enjoy a glass of champagne overwatching the sunset, come down the cable car and have a dinner filled with traditional Canarian tapas and cuisine. And after that, you will enjoy a 2-hour stargazing session with a licensed astronomer and guide that will ultimately bring you back down the mountain and back to your hotel. Now, for those of you who have multi-generational clients that are looking to find a different location than the Caribbean or Mexico or mainland Europe, but that still has some kid-friendly activities, look no further than Tenerife. And the reason is Tenerife has the #1 water park in the world as rated by TripAdvisor for the last 3 years, and it is called Siam Park. It has the world's largest lazy river. It has one of the tallest water slides in the world, and it has extremely unique architecture as it was designed and built by the architects of the current Thai king. So the entire park is filled with Thai architecture buildings and these magnificent flowers that are tropical and that you've never seen before. The owner also has another park on the north end of the island called Loro Park, and that's considered the #2 zoo in the world. A little bit of a combination of Animal Kingdom and SeaWorld. And for those of you that are looking to see what else is there to do, well, there's also whale and dolphin watching. There are more than 21 species of non-migratory pilot whales and dolphins that live right off the coast. You don't have to go more than a 10-minute boat ride. There is no seasonality because they live there year-round. They're considered to be the island's 3rd native population. And the water is very deep, so you will see them almost any time you will go out just a few hundred yards off of the coastline. For those of you that have clients that are adrenaline junkies or adventure seekers, well, there's plenty to choose from, ranging from paragliding to parasailing to kite surfing. And what you're looking at here is one of the most common activities there, and this is done with a guide, where they will come off of the plateau and you will enjoy a 45-minute descent into the valley of La Orotava, where you will descend on parachute right onto the beaches right next to the ocean. Quite the thrill. And for those of you that are interested in having the ability to do some cycling and biking, Tenerife is also a great spot. In fact, it is the top destination for cyclers to train. And in fact, many of the Tour de France competitors train there in the winter months, again, because it's always between 75 and 80 degrees and such a very comfortable, dry climate. Now, in addition to these adventure activities and cycling, there are these amazing cliffs on the southern end of the island called Los Gigantes. Now, these volcanic cliffs are more than 3,000 feet high, and you can enjoy these cliffs and check out these cliffs either by going on a sunset catamaran ride or by doing some kayaking, or as you can see here, exploring them through paddleboarding. Now, there are a lot of different inlets that you can explore, and it is quite amazing. You can even get lucky and see some of the eagles that live along these cliffs and see them dive bombing as they're fishing for food. Now, for those of you who have clients that are hikers and are looking for some trails to go out and explore nature, again, Tenerife is the place for you. This is an area called Taganana National Forest, located on the northern end of the island, which is very different from the south. The north end of the island is lush, it's green, and it's got a rugged coastline with a mountain range in the background called the Anaga Mountains. Now, these Anaga Mountains and these forests have amazing prehistoric giant ferns and giant rhododendron trees, like the ones you see here. This is actually a lifelike picture of a photographer overlooking the coastline and the ocean. And as you can see, these ferns and these trees are gigantic and something that you will only see on the island. Now, if you're into golf or your clients are into golf, you've got that covered as well. There are 8 different courses on the island and one additional course on the neighboring island of La Gomera, which is a 40-minute boat ride away and a fantastic day excursion if you have some time. Now, most of the golf courses have ocean views. And what's unique about them is that most of them were built on old banana plantations, so that you have terraces, as you can see here on the left-hand side, made of old volcanic rock that was put in by the indigenous people that inhabited the island. And there's plenty to choose from. If your golfers are very advanced, there's some world-class designs that were made by Donald Steele or the famous Steve Ballesteros. And there are a variety of different levels of complexity ranging from PGA level courses to more enjoyable and easy courses. For example, at the course called the Pebble Beach of Tenerife, which is located on the north end of the island. And this is the course for the Ritz-Carlton Abama. Again, the Ritz-Carlton Abama is one of the premier resorts on the island. And this course is one of the most challenging ones, where they've had a number of professional tournaments. But I would advise your clients that they need to be in shape if they're playing this course, and they need to be very good golfers, as it is very rigorous, challenging, with lots of hills and ups and downs to get up and down from the tea boxes. Now, for those of you that are looking for arts and culture, the island has it all, including this is the clock tower in the ancient capital of La Laguna, which is the second World Heritage Site, UNESCO World Heritage Site on the island. Now, because it used to be the go-between during the colonial days between South America and mainland Spain and Portugal, and all the explorers stopped at Tenerife on their way back and forth to the New World. They used to stop in ports like Chico and the town of La Laguna to replenish their supplies, pick up local wines, pick up local supplies, and before they made off onto their long journey. So as a result, you have a lot of South American and Spanish cultural influences, including the fact that they have the second largest carnival on the planet behind Rio de Janeiro. And what you're looking at here is the Carnival Queen Festival, where designers from across the globe come in the February and March timeframe during the Carnival festivities and compete for the best and most ornate dress for the Carnival Queen. Now, in addition, during the summer months, from June through the end of September, you have local festivities and festivals called La Romeria in most of the different towns and villages on the island. Now, this is quite unique because the locals get dressed in local garb and local costumes. They have competitions of sand art and sand murals. And you can actually dress up like the locals and participate in the dancing and the drinking and all these and all the festivities as well. Now, the island also has great architecture. In fact, we just had a group come back that did an architectural tour of the island, both modern architecture and old Spanish colonial architecture. And what you're looking at here is what they call the Tenerife Sydney Opera House and Amphitheater. Now, this was designed by the same architect who did the Sydney Opera House, and it's located in the capital city of Santa Cruz. Now, they have concerts, theater, special events happening year-round at the amphitheater here in Santa Cruz. So I'd encourage you to check out when you're going to be there if there are any events going on at that time. Now, as I mentioned, because there were so many influences from Spain and South America, the flavors of the foods are quite amazing. Now, one of the things you have to try if you go to Tenerife are the cheeses, and this is one Manchego cheese. The island is also known for its Iberian jamón, the prosciutto ham, that is also delicious. And it's also well known for its honey. As I mentioned earlier, there are more than 800 different unique species of fauna and flora on the island. So the honeys have very unique flavors that go extremely well with cheese, ham, and many of the other appetizers and tapas that you'll find on the island. Now, for those of you looking for dining options for your clients, there are plenty of options to choose from, including dining at the local seaside cafes and local restaurants. Or if they're looking for something more fancy, there are 4 two-star Michelin restaurants on the island, including one at the Ritz-Carlton Obama that we'll talk about in a little bit. Now, this is one of the famous dishes there that you can find. This is braised pork, Canarian braised pork in a thyme sauce, one of my favorites that has a little bit of that South American and Spanish flavor combined. And for those of you who are like me and are wine enthusiasts, well, there are some very unique grape varieties on the island here. And there are many wineries on the island as well that you can visit and taste. And one of the things that's interesting is that because the island is located in the middle of the Atlantic, it has these unique grape varieties that did not get wiped out on mainland Europe during the 1800s during the phylloxera epidemic. So you have a couple of varieties such as the Listan Bianco and the Listan Negro that are very crisp, dry, and flavorful wines, particularly the red wine, that you will find nowhere else on the planet except in the Canaries. You've got a number of different vineyards that you can visit both on the north and on the southern side of the island as you're touring around if you're interested for a little pit stop. Now, that's what there is to do on the island. Let's talk a little bit about our two preferred hotels, the Ritz-Carlton Abama and the Sheraton La Caleta. Now, the Ritz-Carlton Abama is one of the best hotels I have ever stayed at. It is part of the Ritz-Carlton chain, and it's situated up on a hilltop overlooking the island of La Gomera. So you have perfectly westerly views with outstanding sunsets. And you have a facility that's comprised of both a centered hotel complex, along with a number of different villas and adult-only villas located closer to the shoreline, with the golf courses and the clubhouse located behind the restaurant overlooking the water. Now, both hotels are located on the southwest part of the island in an area called Costa Adeje, which is one of the most famous locations on the island, and within a 20-minute drive of the southern airport. Now, as you can see on the right, the hotel is situated up on a cliff, as I mentioned, and it's got the villas below it and then a private beach at the bottom that you can visit by either taking a little buggy train ride that takes you around the various locations on the property, or take the funiculare up and down the cliff. And that is a cable car that'll bring you from the top of the cliff down to the bottom of the cliff, where you will have a private, pristine gold sand beach that also has natural lava pools. Now, these are natural lava pools where you can jump into the ocean, no currents, no chances of getting cut in the rocks, perfectly safe, and quite the experience for those of you who want to experience swimming in an area that was engulfed by lava many years ago. Now, the main complex, called the Citadel, has 313 rooms and suites, 60 of which are interconnecting rooms. And the Ritz has also a club level and a lounge facility, as well as a Ritz kids facility and family pool. Below the main complex are a series of villas. Now, both villas and suites for adults and families, as well as the Tager Villas, which is our adults-only concept that contain also semi-private gardens with pristine ocean views. And those villas also have access to the Mirador pool, which is an infinity pool overlooking the cliffs and overlooking the water, and access to a excellent restaurant called the El Mirador Restaurant and Pool Bar. Now, we talked about the beach area. It is definitely worth checking out. You have sunbeds, you have a restaurant, you have a beach club, and that's all accessible and private with very, very few people on the beach. It's going to feel like you have the beach to yourself. Now, the rooms, the deluxe rooms, are all facing the ocean. This is a refurbished room. All the rooms were refurbished a few years ago. We also have junior suites, And for those of you, your clients that are looking for larger space, we also have 1-bedroom suites, all of which have a balcony overlooking the island of La Gomera. Now, there is also, as I mentioned, a club level, 19 rooms in the club level and 2 suites, which have ocean view. And if you're looking to upgrade a little bit to something special, we also have the Villa Deluxe rooms, which are right by the edge of the water, and the adults-only Tiger Villas, where you will have access to a personal assistant from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., private buggy train that'll take you around the various locations and pools and restaurants on the property. And you will also have access to snacks and a coffee machine and tea center. Now let's talk a little bit about the food. There are a number of different varieties of restaurants on the property, including the 1-star new Kabuki restaurant. Now this is Japanese themed and sushi themed restaurant. And the resort is also well known for its 2-star Michelin restaurant called the MB. Now this is a dining experience that you will not forget. It is a fixed price menu by the chef that is world renowned. And there is a tasting menu that I would highly recommend if you're looking to celebrate a special occasion. There is also a new restaurant called Choco, which is a Spanish Canarian tapas cuisine. And there is also a steakhouse right at the edge of the pool, and a brand new Italian themed restaurant that is excellent called La Verona. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, you have the El Mirador restaurant down at the edge of the water with the Tabor Villas. Now, you can make a reservation if you have a special event there. But there is also another pool bar restaurant called Los Chozos, which is located right next to the kids club. That's a lot more informal if you're looking for burgers and sandwiches throughout the day. In addition, there are 3 bars at the property. There's one called La Cubanica, where you can enjoy some live entertainment in the afternoon during happy hour. There's the lobby bar that has live music from 9 to 11 every night. And there is also a sports bar for your clients that are looking to keep tabs on their local sports team. Now, the resort is also well known for its tennis and golf facilities. There are tennis lessons and multiple tennis courts on the resort that are both grass and clay courts. And as I mentioned, the golf course is second to none and one of the most well-known courses in all of the Canary Islands. Now, that's it for the Ritz-Carlton, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the Sheraton La Caleta Resort. And the reason we chose this hotel is because the 2 hotels are actually very similar. Now, in fact, the Sheraton La Caleta was designed by the same architect and built by the same builder. So it looks identical, and the rooms are almost the same. Only difference is that the Ritz has the Ritz level of quality, whereas the Sheraton has the Sheraton level of quality, both of which are 5-star. What you're looking at here is the exterior of the Sheraton. It is located a little bit south of the Ritz-Carlton, so the view of the island of La Gomera is off on the right. And as you can see, the hotel lobby is very bright, modern, and inviting. Now, the rooms, also very bright and spacious, also mainly have ocean views with balconies. And it also has 20 suites that are 1-bedroom suites with the private balcony. And for those of you who are looking for something special for your clients, there's also club terrace suites that also have private jacuzzis, and also a club lounge level if you're looking to have your clients have a little bit of an upgraded experience at the Sheraton. Similarly, there's a number of different bars at the property. I like this one that's located right at the entrance and overlooks the pool bar La Glorieta. And there's below that the El Parador restaurant, which is right by one of the pools, and it's great for breakfast and also for lunch. Now for dinners, and if you're looking for something a little bit more authentic, there is La Venta, which is a Spanish-style restaurant, as well as another Japanese restaurant called Kamakura, which has lots of sushi and fresh seafood. And it also has an Italian-style restaurant right by the pool called Vivace. Now, the resort is also well known for its spa capabilities and its spa facilities. It has a couple of different plunge pools and licensed massage therapists that you can reserve upon check-in. It also has a kids club that is very, very friendly and provides great entertainment for the kids with both a kids pool as well as a kids playground. And as you can see, the overall facilities and the pool, especially in Sunset, is just something to be remembered. And both of them are quite amazing resorts, and both of which you can't steer, you can't go wrong in steering your clients in that direction. Now, a little bit about Quest Travel Adventures. As I mentioned, we are the official office of representation for Turismo de Tenerife, or the Tenerife Tourism Board in North America. We are here to help you with itineraries, imagery, photos, or we can also provide full turnkey packages, as we have preferential rates with the local hotels. We do pay 12% travel agent commissions, so feel free to contact us if we can be of assistance. Now, the two ways that we recommend visiting the island is with a 4-day package or a 7-day package. The 4-day package gives you a taste of the best things to do on the island, including visiting Costa Adeje, where you'll be staying, as well as the capitals of Santa Cruz and La Laguna, checking out the vineyards, maybe doing a whale watch, and the number one activity on the island that you should not miss is an ascent up Mount Teide, driving up Mount Teide, checking out the national park, and if you have time, doing a stargazing session. Now, if your clients have a little bit more time, you can do everything from the 4-day itinerary plus a little more, such as visiting the hidden village of Masca, which is very similar to the ancient village of Machu Picchu in Peru in terms of look and feel and architecture. You can explore the rest of the island on your own, do the sunset dinner under the stars, or check out some of the parks if you've got some little ones and some kids or teenagers. Now, another one of the fun activities that you can do on this 7-day excursion is to visit the island of La Gomera, which is 40 minutes away. It's a very different island, and you can go there, you leave early in the morning, arrive at about 10 o'clock on the island from the ferry ride, and they pick you up in a Jeep, take you around the island where you'll visit the banana plantations, taste some of the local foods, experience a whistling demonstration, which is something that is not to be missed. It is the way that the local indigenous people on the island used to communicate with each other. Now they can conduct full sentences and full conversation purely by whistling. And this was the way that they could get around and notify each other of potential threats coming in from the ocean, since they didn't have any of the modern technologies for communications. Now, as part of the Turismo de Tenerife, we are offering a special promotion of $200 off per person for any travel in 2017 or 2018 if you book by the end of the year. Now, all you need to do is mention that you attended this webinar, or call us at 1-800-693-1815, or visit our official website for Turismo de Tenerife at www.traveltotenerife.com. Now, at this point, we're going to open it up for questions, and all you need to do is just type into the chat window any questions you may have, and we'll do our best to answer them. So the first one that's coming in is, can you talk a little bit about the airports, how many airports on the islands, and where to fly into? Of course. So the first one is Tenerife North. There are 2 airports on the island, one on the north end of the airport with a 3-letter code TFN, Tango Fox Nancy, and that is for domestic flights coming in and out of mainland Spain. And there are hourly flights from Madrid and many, many flights per day from Barcelona and Sevilla and Malaga and many other cities across Spain. And the second airport is located on the southern side of the island, and it is under the code TFS, Tango Fox Susan, and that is for international flights coming in from Europe, the UK, France, Netherlands, Germany, pretty much anywhere around the globe. And as I mentioned, there are 180 different direct connections across the globe. So other questions that are coming in. Can you talk a little bit about the LGBT community? Yes, and there is an LGBT community on the island, and as you know, Spain is extremely hospitable and friendly to the LGBT community. One thing to note is that the island is well known for being a couples destination, whereas the neighboring island of Gran Canaria is more well known for being a singles destination for the LGBT community, but clearly a great place for anyone. Another question that's coming in is, can you talk a little bit about scuba diving? Yes, there is scuba diving. And scuba diving, there are a number of different dive sites around the island, both the southern side of the island and the eastern side of the island. Because the island is in the middle of the Atlantic, most of the diving is wall diving. So there are no lagoons on the island, so it's not shallow dives. These are deep wall dives where you'll see volcanic rocks with various colors of, multiple types of fish and coral, bright coral, because of the volcanic rock that is below the water. There are also a couple of wreck dives, but those are on the northern end of the island and a little bit deeper water. But there are a number of different PADI certified locations and dive centers on the island that we can help with. The last question that's coming in is, when staying at the resorts, would you recommend renting a car, or do your clients usually stay at a property? So we would recommend highly that your clients rent a car. Both the Sheraton La Caleta and the Ritz-Carlton have car rental facilities, and it's very easy to get around. The roads are well lit, and there's clear signage, and it'll give you more flexibility to go out and explore the local villages, the local restaurants, and the local highlights at your own pace. So definitely enjoy the beaches and enjoy the resorts, but taking out a car and exploring on your own is certainly something we'd recommend. Well, that's it for questions. So again, my name is Cyril Lemaire at Quest Travel Adventures, the official office of representation for the Tenerife Tourism Bureau in the Canary Islands. If you have any questions or if we can be of assistance, please feel free to contact us at 1-800-693-1815 or visit us at Travel to Tenerife. And with that, we thank you for your participation and look forward to receiving and hosting your travelers on our magical island over the next year. Thanks again for joining, and have a great day.